Welcome to Level Up, where you get the score on video games. Totally Rad is one of my favorite games to talk about. Not only is it a game that no one I know has ever heard of, but among the few reviews I can find of it, the opinions are pretty much split, kind of like with Battle of the Bands. As with Battle of the Bands, which was probably quickly prejudged due to other music rhythm games, I think people who don't like Totally Rad are jumping to conclusions based on the title alone. Think about it, Totally Rad, does that even sound close to the title of a good game? Well, let's see why you shouldn't judge a game by its title alone with Totally Rad for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The story of the game is that you play as a kid named Jake, a magician's apprentice to... Know what? No, you don't care about the story. You're playing a game called Totally Rad. Yeah, I know I just said that you shouldn't judge a game by its title, but think about it. They put that little thought into the name of it. What makes you think that the story is going to be anything deep? It's pretty much standard with people telling you have to save the world because you have to. Though I have to say, you should still check out the cutscenes in between the levels. Filled with so much radical lingo, you'll wonder how anyone ever thought that was cool. Though I'm sure Linkara's 90s kid would be quick to defend his native tongue, but he'd just be proving me right. The game plays like a mix of Mega Man and Metroid. I say Mega Man more than Metroid because you can charge up your shot like Mega Man, though this game came out before Mega Man could do that, and because the levels and some of the enemies do make me think of the Blue Bomber. The Metroid aspect is mostly based on the twirly jump, which reminds me very much of Samus's, and maybe a few of the enemies and the background influences. Maybe. The big difference between those two and Jake is that you seem a bit slower. I hesitate to say that the controls are stiffer, since I honestly don't have a problem with them, but I wouldn't disagree with you if you think they are. One aspect this game has that takes it beyond the regular shooting and jumping platform game is magic. Most of his spells fall into the category of typical but very useful magic skills in video games, like 2 types of healing, full and halfway, freezing the enemies, making yourself invincible, and 4 types of attacking spells to either hurt or kill one or several enemies. But the most unique spells are the ones that transform you into one of 3 creatures, plus 1 spell for turning you back, which reminds me of what I saw of Demon's Crest. Unlike that game though, the transformations from this game are far from necessary. I know, since I've beat the game without using them. So it adds the option of making this game different from standard platformers without forcing it to, which I really enjoyed. It's worth mentioning though that you have a magic bar, so use your spells sparingly, i.e. don't transform too much if you plan on relying on healing spells later on. The way the game looks is pretty interesting. It has a whole futuristic city type thing that's kind of hard to explain. With the way the background and enemies are designed, it gives a bit of the same feeling as some of the Ninja Turtle games on the NES. Things are pretty well sprited. If I had to compare the quality of them, I think I'd have to put them somewhere between Ninja Gaiden and Mega Man. The coloring of it is probably what gives it its personality though. It can be described as neon, or as far as the NES could produce neon. The only problem is that with these weird colors and designing, might be another reason this game gets prejudged like it does. But I still think it's a matter of opinion, since I say it gives the game much of its flavor. Just remember, it's not all about how it looks. Totally Rad may not be the greatest game out there, but it's still a pretty good game. I will admit it's far from perfect though. There are minor issues throughout the game that can easily get to you if you let it. The only one I've really had a problem with myself though is the fact that you start way back at the start of the level, no matter how long it is, if you die at any point during. This can be a big problem if you get to a boss. Still, I don't think it's worthy of the hate it gets from some people, and I can't help but wonder if it was under the original title of Magic John, would people like it better? To sum it all up, I call this game the From Paris with Love of NES platformers. Nothing astounding, but still pretty good for what you'd expect. Plus, you can get this game for $2 online now, so if you don't like it, it's not a big loss. I give Totally Rad for the Nintendo Entertainment System 7.5 levels out of 10. I'm Leo Melanson, and now you know the score.